We're always waiting to be sure, waiting for a sign, or waiting for the right moment to start that thing that's been on our mind for years. We tell ourselves we're not ready, not yet, but maybe soon. However, there's something that you need to know. The right time doesn't actually exist. It's not real. So the idea of the perfect timing. It's almost as if there's an invisible person in charge of your life, and one day, eventually, when you wait long enough, they'll turn around to you and say, okay, now you can do it. Looking back, the moments that shaped me the most were the ones that I didn't feel ready for. But whatever it was, I did it anyway. The first time I uploaded a video, or the first time that I booked a trip without a real plan. I wasn't prepared, but I showed up anyway and did it regardless. And I think that we all know deep down that the longer we leave things, the fear only gets worse. So I've come to learn that there's a big lie that a lot of people quietly believe. That one day the stars will align and we'll wake up in the morning and everything will feel just right, and all your ducks will finally be in a row. But ask anyone who's done something big or meaningful, and I think they'll say the same thing. They started before they were ready. It's not when they get everything worked out and all the doubts that they have leave, because that actually happens after they start. And let's be honest, that makes total sense, doesn't it? How could you be confident that you could do something before you've actually done it? The key is to acquire the proof, and then the doubt will go, because then you have evidence. Now, I can't help but think that we overestimate how much control we need in life. We think we need certainty or a guarantee before we start. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a planning and a research phase. It can make some things easier and it can help set you up for success. But I have personal experience, and I can tell you that so many things can go into that planning and that research phase, and they never actually make it out the other end. And I think that's a shame. And I can definitely relate with that. I've got short film ideas and really cool projects that are currently gathering dust. The reality is that so many of the answers that you're looking for before you start will just appear to you anyway when you go down the path and you're doing the thing. If I'd waited for the perfect time to travel, I never would have gone. If I'd waited to be fully confident in my voice, I never would have made videos. And if I waited to feel like an expert, I'd still be stuck in the planning phase of my life. And maybe that's actually what this is, a quiet form of procrastination that's dressed up as patience, dressed up as being realistic. And as a British person, where being realistic is drilled into you from such a young age, it can be a problem if you've got really big ideas. The truth is, most people are not lazy, they're just scared. Scared of starting, scared of failing, and even scared of being seen to try. And I actually think the last one there is the real killer. And that really bugs me, it seems like there's this phenomenon where people are made to feel a bit silly for trying big things. Of course, you will stand out naturally if you are the only person in your town starting a YouTube channel or starting a business. But if people are going to make fun of you for that, then I think that says more about them and the town than it does about you. I always try and remember the phrase, what got you here won't get you there. And of course it is really obvious, but I personally often need reminding of it. It's very easy to just continue what you've done in the past, staying in the comfort zone, using the same tools and doing the same habits. The mindset that helped you to survive is not the same mindset that you need to thrive. A nice little rhyme for you there. Now, all this might sound a little bit too dramatic, and perhaps I'm building it up to be something bigger than it really is. What I will say though is that anything that I've done that I consider to be a big thing has started with something quite small. It was never a big leap and definitely not cinema worthy. Nobody ever asked me to pick up a camera or to make thousands of videos or to apply for job roles that seemed bigger than what I could do, or to hop on a plane and go see somewhere that I really wanted to see. But instead I did it all anyway. My first video on here was objectively terrible. It is essentially just me saying hello with some random shots that I got from an old job. And my first solo trip was definitely not adventurous. I essentially never left a 2-mile radius from the hotel that I booked for the entirety of the 3 days that I was there. But if I didn't go there and I didn't make that first YouTube video, I wouldn't have been able to then go on to make better videos and to be more adventurous in the future and actually get out of my comfort zone. I'll let you in on a few secrets. Most of my best videos, nobody wanted me to make. Let me explain what I mean. Most of my best work, where I'm actually able to flex my skills that I've learned as a filmmaker, have essentially just been where I've had an idea and I go and carry it out myself. At the end of the day, I don't have time to wait for a business to give me the perfect opportunity. I just need to take action. So in the video world, this is called spec work. This is where you essentially create the things that you want to be creating in the hope that in the future it could actually lead to some paid work. And of course, it is good practice. The perfect example of this is when I created a little commercial for Adidas because I just wanted some running and sports stuff in my portfolio. And then a few months down the line, a business reached out to me and they wanted to work with me because I had experience shooting running. And I pretty much know that if I hadn't have taken the initiative and made that little commercial off my own back, I never would have got that work. For me, this just certifies the fact that you can't wait for permission. And not only that, when you don't, you'll get way more opportunities. So getting over perfectionism can be something that's really tough, especially when you care a lot about your craft. However, over time, I feel like I have managed to get over it to a degree that I can actually get stuff done. A good example would be these YouTube videos where I typically try and get them to around about 90% done, and then I finish it, upload it. You know, I could easily just keep editing, you know, focus more on the colors and the sound design and re-record some bits, but I know it just gets in the way of actually finishing it and moving on to the next thing. I think it's really easy to just get caught up in the weeds and never move forwards with things, definitely when it's a creative subject, but even when it's business related or even coming up with a workout plan. If somebody goes to the gym with a rough idea of what to do, but they go every single day, they're going to expect to see much better results than the person who's got the perfect plan that rarely turns up. And I feel like there's definitely some people out there who aspire to make videos and maybe aspire to have a YouTube channel who are already way better with a camera than loads of people on the platform already. But what does that matter if you're not going to upload, right? Sorry for the tough love, it's just because I care. It's strange, when you stop waiting, time starts changing. You notice the hours that you thought you didn't have, you find the energy and the enthusiasm you didn't know were there, and you start to trust your momentum more than your doubts. And suddenly, you're no longer waiting for the right time. And although I don't believe that there is a right time, if there is, it's probably right now. Look, there will always be reasons to wait, and some of them will sound really sensible and really reasonable, but let's be honest, there's no good reason to press the pause button on your life. So here's the truth, you're never going to feel 100% ready, and the best thing is, you don't even need to. You need to start before you're certain, take action before you feel qualified, and find your voice after you speak. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time. Cheers.